My name's Rudy, and I run a little ISP in San Francisco called Monkey Brains, and I've been running that since 1998. And I provide dial-up and web hosting and co-location to people out there in San Francisco. And last October, the FBI announced that they're releasing a new plug-in to their carnivore project called Magic Lantern. That's basically a keystroke logging program. And a week after that announcement, a virus came out on the web called the BadTrans. It's actually a BadTrans version 2. There was an earlier one, a version earlier in the year, but this new worm version came out, and it started to collect data, keystroke logging data from people. And it would collect the data and then periodically mail that information back as an email to one of 20 different addresses. And one of those addresses happened to be on one of the domains that I hosted. It was a free forwarding service that I had, sort of a emailer, remailer thing. And is suck my prick at IJustGotFired.com. And I started to get a bunch of email coming in. It was slowing my mail server down, and I used Pine, so it was kind of a drag. I couldn't figure. I'm like, what the hell is wrong? And I started to look in the mail log, and all this shit was coming in. And I'm like, I thought it was a spammer at first, so I just shut off the remail thing and started to store all the data in a mail spool file and all the emails. And then I looked at it, I opened it up, I started to look around, and I'm like, wow, this isn't spam replies of irate internet users, it's keystroke logging data. I've never seen such a massive quantity of it. And I've installed it on friends' computers for fun, but that's a different story. So I got all this data, and I just started to collect it, and I stayed up real late, wrote a little script to parse it, and split it up into different categories. So there's passwords for websites, passwords for remote network access, passwords for FTP sites that people use, either use like some Microsoft web post product. The BadTrans virus, just to go back to that real quick, it just affects Windows users. A surprise. But so I had all this data, and I wrote a script to parse it, and I put it all into a MySQL database so I could have my own mini carnivore, and so I could look through the data and see what people were thinking about in the world. It was fun doing that. I did that for a couple of days, and then the FBI called up, and they're like, "Hey, you got some data over there at Monkey Brains?" And I told them, yeah, I have some data. What do you want? They wanted all the files, and they wanted the logs from the person signing up for the free remailer. IJustGotFired.com. You can go to a website and put in your alias you want, like Joe, and then your Joe at IJustGotFired.com will go to your Soylent at Rotten.com or wherever your real email address is. And so I started to think about privacy issues, like, wow, there's this data, and I'm looking at it, and it's sort of my data, so I can look at it, but I don't think the government should look at it. I earned it. They haven't been earning it. I decided that giving them the IP that was used to create the email alias was something that was there. They should have that, and some logs on just that IP and some of the initial emails that came into Monkey Brain, so that they could get an idea of what information I had, and so that they could maybe catch the person who wrote the worm. The FBI can easily get a court order to do that type of thing. The rest of the data, I had a couple of gigs worth of data sitting on my hard disk. I had to turn off the data collection because it was starting to be too much for me. So I collected it for, I don't know, a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks. And I got about 1/3 of a million of pieces of email from people around the world, from China, Russia, the US, places in Europe. There's no real pattern. It was worldwide. It wasn't like this worm had targeted one country or anything like that. So I decided I didn't want to give him that data. I talked to a criminal lawyer that has helped out 2600 before, and a friend, Mackie, turned me on to her. Jennifer, I forget her last name. Thank you. She told me what I could and couldn't do. Like I couldn't just publish all the data that I was getting. I couldn't make that cool MySQL database I'd set up available to the whole world. I could make portions of it available, but not all of it, because there are already laws out there. And so I got involved in all this law stuff that I never really thought about, and that was kind of fun. I hadn't really thought about privacy that much before. I'd always just assumed that everything could be read by anyone, and this just sort of confirmed that. So I set up a web interface. I don't think there's an internet connection here, so I'm not going to really be able to show that to you. Let's see, where am I on this list? Oh, so I made the badtrans.monkeybrains.net site, and I made that live, and people started to check that out, and I got a lot of publicity from rotten.com. They published a story on it. Tom and Mackie and I worked together on writing a description of what I'd been doing with the BadTrans data that I'd been collecting. And let's see. It was really fun looking through the database. I'm sorry I couldn't make all the messages available to you all. I don't know if has anyone looked at that site? A couple people? I don't know. Oh, that's cool. So some people are aware of this thing. I looked through the messages and just saw that some people, were like looking for other jobs while they're at one job. Other people were trying to make up with girlfriends. Some people were getting new girlfriends. Some people were getting boyfriends, and other people were getting 2 or 3 boyfriends. And it's just this real standard patterns that I started to see. Maybe it's just because when I searched for one term, a lot of things came up, and I'm like, wow, that's really normal. And it was fun. I'd let my roommates come in my room, and they'd search for a word. Like one roommate thought about it for a second. He's like, panties, and then like all this like chat porn stuff came up. It would log stuff from chat windows, from Microsoft Word documents that you never intended to send over the internet. It would record everything that you deleted, backspaced over, and then you type something new if you misspelled something. That's how a keystroke logger works, in case people aren't familiar with one. Another guy came in who was a little bit more politically minded, and I'm like, what word do you want to look up? And he said, thought about it. He thought about it longer than my roommate, and he's like, anarchy. And then we searched for that, and there's this story about how some teacher was scared about this anarchy program that was being set up in some high school in the Midwest. So this is good Big Brother material here. You get to see what people are thinking about. You could search for other words, I don't know, Taliban or credit card number or password. You can get all kinds of stuff out of it. So that site was up, and there's one section. There's three things you could search. You could search for your email address, and if you were infected, it would send you an email saying, yes, you are infected. If you weren't infected, it wouldn't send you one at all. At first, I had the results published on the site. Like, you could put in, my friend at some other ISP.com, and it would say yes or no. But it turned out that the FBI suggested to me that was a bad idea to publish that information because it's revealing what's in the database by giving a positive or a negative. So I changed it around to, okay, it just returns if you're infected, you'll get an email. If you're not, you won't. So supposedly, if you put in your own email address, only you can receive that email. And if you put in your friend's email, then you don't know if they're infected or not. So that's the first part of the database. The second part was the passwords. You could put in any search string you wanted, like Microsoft, and get anything that had to do with the Microsoft.com site, if there's passwords for that perhaps. Or you could put in .gov, and you could find out all kinds of cool passwords for government websites. You could put in porno, and you could get all the free porno website passwords you wanted. You could do FTP, and you could find different sites that you could have FTP access to suddenly. So this became a little bit of a stir in the security community. Security Focus got an email from, actually I think first what happened is this company ParaProtect. Is anyone familiar with that company? they provide security for a lot of big companies in the U.S. like the NASDAQ Online, Ford, Motorola. I don't know, just to name a few big companies, and some smaller ones too, and some military ones and stuff like that. Yeah, like a couple of military websites. They send an email to all their clients saying, oh, there's this tool on the web where you can go and you can put in your search string, and it will return all the different resources that it has passwords for, that I had passwords for, and it would just show the resource like http.www.ford.com/members, and then it would say username and password. I like hid all the usernames and passwords, so it just gave the string username and password. I have my own personal version where I can search and find out what people's real passwords are. It's kind of fun to see those patterns too. Again, people pick really simple things. It's no surprise to any of you here, I'm sure. But so a company could go like Ford. They would put in their company name, and they'd get back 48 hits, and they'd be unique resources, like different URLs. Like a lot of sites have like unique. You know when you go to a website, a little window pops up that says put in your password, and it says this is for members only, or this is for Ford customers, or this is for Dow Chemical Product partners, or something like that. And so they could see all the passwords that or the number of passwords I had, and they would email me a request. I made up some rules. I run an ISP, and I get really pissed when people don't have an abuse@yourdomain.com. So the only person I would send the results to would be the abuse address. For two reasons. One, I want everyone to have an abuse address. And number two, it's the only way that I could ensure that the data wouldn't fall into the wrong hands. Because if I gave a list of username and passwords to say Joe Smith at Yahoo.com who claimed to be the sysadmin for Yahoo.com, I'd probably get in trouble. So I had to mail it somewhere reliable. So I sent it to the abuse address, and that went fine. And after about 30 of these requests, I realized, wow, there's a bunch of these coming in, and it's taking up my time. I was doing it for free. So I instituted a $10 fee, which is trivial to a large company. But I made them pay with PayPal. So that gets interesting. There's one company people are calling me up from all over. It's entertaining to say the least. But this one guy called, and he's like, we're in a Fortune 500 company. Do you know what that means to you? And I'm like, nothing. I work for myself. So I think that was a Hartford or something, Hanford, I don't know. They do something with finances. I really don't keep up on those companies. But that security guy got really upset that I wouldn't just give him the information. So I'm like, you have to set up a PayPal account, and you have to send $10 to billing at monkeybrains.net. and I did that for a couple of reasons. One, just to fuck with him. And number two, I would like to see a system where big companies are more willing to give individuals small chunks of money. People talk about microtransactions all the time, and how these big companies want to gather little pieces of money from all the people. What about the big companies giving little pieces of money to all the people? Kind of the reverse. So I was thinking that'd kind of be cool if more people sort of, I don't know, you could call it blackmail if you wanted to, blackmail big companies. But if you do it for a small enough fee, like $10, they're not going to waste their time suing you or entering your legal department. I think a lot of the admins just paid out of their own pocket, but it made them think about it. So that was, that was rewarding for me. I had other people thinking about something that I'd thought about. So that felt good. And so I did the abuse, and they had to do PayPal. And I did a couple of trades with some people. I have a DSL connection with speakeasy.net, and they're great. If you want DSL, I recommend them because they're a smaller company. They're smaller than Pac-Bell or Verizon or whatever. So they're the little We Try Harder company. So their admin gave me a free month in exchange for the passwords. I'm like, that's a good deal. And then Playboy sent me 2 issues of Playboy. All right, I'll bend the rules a little. Well, it was kind of a good deal because I had another website, which I'll go ahead and plug right now, called thefirsttwins.com, which focuses on the activities of Jenna and Barbara Bush. And they'd written up, this guy, Mark Fraunfelder, writes articles for Playboy every now and then. He was just in an Apple commercial, by the way. I don't know if you guys follow that guy. He used to be an editor at Wired. But anyhow, he had written a story about thefirsttwins.com, and I didn't know that, so they had the Playboys that I usually don't purchase, so they gave me 2 copies of those, and I got really excited about that, seeing the first twins right up, that is. Let's see. So yeah, Paraprotect blessed the site in a way. They're like, check this out, and then I changed it from being free to $10 when no one was looking. And then Security Focus, someone wrote to them, and like, this looks like blackmail or something like that. And they wrote some stuff, and I replied to the thread, and they didn't, I don't think they put my message up in their thread. It's like a, what's it called, moderated? I don't know, they didn't like my response. So yeah, then I went commercial. And then something else interesting happened. A bunch of really interesting things happened from this BadTrans project. I got Playboys, I got to screw with big companies, and then PayPal decided to freeze my account. Go figure. I think in the end I made maybe $400 or something. I don't know, something pretty trivial considering the amount of time and bandwidth that I put into the project. It didn't cover my costs. That wasn't the goal. But PayPal froze my account because someone decided, hey, I have keystroke logging data too. I think this is what someone was thinking. I don't know who it was. If you can come up to me later if it was you and tell me, I'd get a good laugh out of it. Someone had a bunch of passwords for PayPal accounts that they'd been holding on to, and they transferred money illegally into my PayPal account. And instead of doing the $10 amount, they were moving like $100 chunks. And so I got a whole bunch of money for a while there, and it happened real fast. I'm like, should I take it all out and just pretend like, I never had this quick, I get transferred to my bank account. It takes like 24 hours. That's before anyone's going to figure it out. It took them like 2 weeks to like freeze my account. So I had this nice fat balance in my PayPal account, and I really wanted to take the money out, but I decided that money's not worth going to jail for. So I didn't do it. I left the money in there. PayPal froze my account. I couldn't accept any money from other people. I lost, tens of $10, so at least $100. Tens! It was upsetting. But a couple of the PayPal people emailed me like, hey, some money came out of my account and went into yours. Why? I don't know. I think there's someone out there that has your password. You should change it. And I refunded one person manually, and then I realized, what if I keep doing this, they're gonna get my refund, and then the whole system's gonna get screwed up, and they're gonna ask for a refund again from PayPal, and they're gonna get double refunded. So I just said, you have to email PayPal. And PayPal is really, really slow to accept emails. I don't think they accept emails. You have to do this web-based interface thing, and no one will really respond to you personally. It's always from a generic account. I hate that when when you deal with a large company, no one takes on an issue on a personal level. Yeah, not only PayPal, but a lot of companies suck. Like when a problem comes in, that task should be devoted to someone with a name, like Tom. And then Tom should say, all right, I run Rotten.com. I take care of 1/4 of the complaints. I'm going to deal with this person that doesn't like the chainsawed off arm and that's a photo I got from South America. They have big chainsaws down there. Lots of tree cutting. But so Tom should deal with it. When the person writes back, there should be a little system set up where he gets all of them. And then when he's done with that, the next message goes to someone else, like Gweeds. And then Gweeds deals with whatever the next problem is, the child swallowed by the snake in Central America somewhere. That was a good camping trip. And then I told the FBI that I wouldn't give them the data unless they got a court order or that they somehow had the judicial branch step in and have the I was thinking in my head, executive, judicial branch, checks, balances, government, all this stuff I learned in high school. And just a quick aside. I don't know if you guys saw this about 2 weeks ago in the New York Times. There's this chart on the Homeland Security front, how they want to reorganize it, and they have all these little 3-letter acronyms and how they're all arranged. Did anyone see that? That was pretty cool. But it turns out the FBI is right below the judicial branch. I didn't even think of that. Investigation, Federal Bureau of Investigation. So of course the courts are going to give them whatever they want. So the FBI came and gave me a visit. Is 4 guys in suits with shoes and a black SUV. It was so predictable. I pulled in with my car, and they pulled in behind me, and I don't know if they've been following me or what, but they went down the block to another warehouse. I work in this area where there's a bunch of warehouses, and I have computers in a couple of different ones. And they went to a different one. I'm like, those guys don't look like they fit in the neighborhood, but I was in a hurry. There's a server down in the data center, so I was running in to grab my laptop and to go back out. And right when I'm like going back down my stairs, my cell phone rings. And it's my friend Geek Boy, and I'm like, oh, Geek Boy's calling. Rudy, they're here. I look down the stairs, and one of my roommates is just leaving, and she's like locking the door, and she's like through the glass door. I don't know if he's here, and she looks up at me, and she's like, run! And I'm like, well, I was expecting them to come, so what's the point in running at this point? I knew that they were going to come, and I only had windows on the 2nd floor. There wasn't far to run. So I went down and said hi, and I was really scared at first. I was shaking for about 30 seconds. I was like, oh, fuck, they're going to kill me. But then I calmed down, and then we had a little chat, and I went for a ride in their SUV. I'm not supposed to tell you what we talked about. We went to the data center. I got to work on the computer that was down. They helped me. I showed up their tech. There's one guy. There's 4 guys. There's one big burly guy. He's like the muscle. Then there's the quiet guy that didn't say anything the whole time. I'll get back to him. Then there's a guy who did all the talking. He's like the ringleader. And then there's the Asian guy. He was the techie. I don't want to stereotype here, but that's just the way it works out in the FBI. They wear black suits. The techies are Asian. And it was fun. I got to ride around in an SUV. They were a little upset when we pulled up to the data center because someone apparently had keyed their SUV while they were inside. I have a lot of neighbors that look out for me. But I don't know what happened. I think they bumped into some construction on the way. There's a lot of construction in San Francisco. The roads there are really bad. I don't really think it was a key. At all. Did they threaten me? And they didn't need to. I was scared. No, I wasn't like unholy scared. I wasn't like pissing myself scared. But after 30 seconds, I calmed down. I said, okay, they're not going to kill me. They probably would have already done that. They're just here to talk to me, and it's going to be calm. And actually, it was fun. Like as we started to drive over to the data center, which is just 3 or 4 miles from where I live and work, we chatted about the data, and I told them I don't think you guys should have this, and they're like, well, we think we should have it. I'm like, okay. And I told them my rationale that the data it's private keystroking stuff from people all around the world and from the U.S., and it's not stuff that people intended other people to read, especially the government. It's like a and they're like, well, it might help us catch the culprit. I'm like, well, I gave you the IP address that signed up for the remailer, for the remailing, for the free alias thing, and the email box that it was going to some Yahoo account. Oh, this is something else real quick. I don't know if do you guys want more tech detail? Do you like that? Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay.
Did you give them the data?
No comment.
Okay, take that as a yes. Thank you.
All right. So all the email, the remailing stuff, that's in a different MySQL database. I set up a little script for my customers so that you can have free email addresses on your the web. If you host a website with me, I have like 100 websites or something that I host, maybe 150. I don't really keep track. I'm really bad at business. I'm good at the tech, and so I went into the database. And I'm like, this guy, it's causing me all this trouble. I'm gonna erase the record. I'm gonna go into the Etsy mail file and put in an alias so that suck my prick goes to the SMP mail spool file. And I started to collect all this stuff, and it was really cool. And suddenly it stopped showing up. I'm like, why did it stop? Is the worm gone? Did everyone do Norton update? I don't think so. So in fact, I turned on the collection of data. I'm getting tired of leaning over. Hold on. I turned back on the collection of data before H2K so I could get a fresh half gig of stuff. Over like 3 days, I got half a gig more of emails just so I could look through it and find new patterns to talk about. I like setting patterns. Anyhow, so I erased that email address, and then someone went back to the free email thing and signed up for the suck my prick alias again, and they made it go to a different mailbox. So they got me, and then I went in and I fixed it so that they couldn't do that again. I had to change my code a little, but so I had two mailboxes where the worm data had been going to, and I gave those to the FBI too. I have no problem with helping out as much as I think I should help out. Like if anyone here ever has a run-in with the FBI, try to follow the law. I mean, you don't want to be in jail. And I thought maybe the law had provisions for privacy.
Were you trying to
No, there's no threats. None.
I mean, even like sort of implicit, like, help us or.
No, nothing like that. They're like, they sent me a document in the mail. I'm not going to tell you what it was. I'm not supposed to. And there's a little post-it on it saying it was signed. There's a funny joke, and it was signed Big Brother, like the contact I've been talking. Ha ha ha. And I thought that was kind of funny, but at the same time a little scary. So I turned off that alias. I got that stuff back. Gosh, that's what else did? Oh, the program that does the free email remailing watches the mail log, and if there's more than N in 15 minutes, it shuts that user off, and if there's more than X in an hour, it shuts them off as well. So it sort of throttles this free service. I don't want people to take advantage of it for worm data collection or for spamming people, because I really hate spam. Let's see. It dumps it into a file for me to see if it's a spam or not. It's a standard practice of ISPs. That's why I was able to collect this data legally. If it's part of your standard operations to collect things that go awry, then you're entitled to look at it. If you log on to someone else, if you log on to a router and watch other people's traffic, you can't legally study that data. But if it comes to your computer as a natural part of your services, then you're allowed to do whatever you want with it. You own it. Oh, the quiet guy. Yeah, he was weird. I have two theories about the quiet guy. Thanks for bringing that up. He was either the psychologist, and he was really watching things, watching my reactions and stuff. And, is this guy nuts? What's up with him? Is he a threat? Or he's the trainee. And I like thinking about this guy who didn't say anything. Was he a trainee, or was he the guy who's making the decision whether they're going to come shoot me next week? So that was fun, just to have that eerie fourth party along with them. Yeah, the muscle guy was huge. They all had guns, I think. I don't know. I didn't really see bulges, but I wasn't looking. I don't look for bulges in guys. What can I say? Let's see. Oh, here's something else interesting. I searched for BadTrans in the message database, and there's thousands of results of people emailing each other. I had this horrible virus, worm, Trojan horse, keylogger thing, and you probably got infected, but I got rid of it. Don't worry about it. And I just checked the last week, and people are still typing the same thing. People are, by and large, similar. Privacy scarce. Corporate workers can be schmucks. I talked about that guy who told me he was a Fortune 500 guy. And the FBI are not superhumans. I don't know. Their techie wasn't brilliant. He was having a hard time getting a good connection to my server, even though it's just a wire from his laptop to my server. Granted, I can't get a connection here, but you know. He was getting really slow throughput, and he's like, you have it throttled by IP or something. I'm like, well, use the IP I'm using. I had my laptop there too, and I'm like, look how fast I'm going. And his computer was going real slow. And like, I copied the same database just to show that I could do it fast. Let's see. I wonder, I don't think I have too much more to say. Let me try to think if I have anything to wrap up before I take questions. Okay, anyone have questions? You can come up to the microphone, or you can just yell it out if you're loud. Yes? The OS on the techie's laptop was some version of Linux. I was running FreeBSD. I can't hear that one, so I'll take that, or just say it louder. What was that?
Are you sure it was the FBI that came to see you?
Oh, was I sure it was the FBI? Yeah, I did a little background checking. They gave me a phone number, and I checked it on their website, and it matched up. Also, that's a good question. You know, never trust anything anyone tells you, especially if they're taking you away in a vehicle. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll take a web-enabled PC. I'll do a little demo on the database. I can't get to the secret message stuff though, because I made it really hard to do from far away. I can only do it from home. If I could get this one on, I could SSH in, but I'm not going to do that from someone else's box. Oh, that's something else fun. A whole bunch of people tried to hack into my box. It was fun to watch. They were doing all these really cool SQL query manipulation in the query string. And in fact, there's one guy that I was watching the logs. He was starting to make progress, so I had to change my code. He found a hole, but I stopped him before he got in. So real-time auditing while sitting in front of a terminal is a good thing. I had to go to the data center anyways. And I'm like, do you just want to give me a lift? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, all right. I thought it would be fun. I mean, shit, what was I going to do? Drive my own car and have them follow me? And my car sucks. I have an old VW Bug. They have plush leather seats. And they had a picture of me up in the front seat. It was kind of cool. The picture was from the Bay Guardian, a weekly in San Francisco. There had been an article on me withholding the data from the FBI the previous week, and they had a copy of that article in their car. Yes, right there?
I'm looking at your website. Oh, by the way, thanks for being so cheery. Like you're part of the family and all that.
Thanks.
And on your website, I looked at stuff. Is that data still available for us to query and all that? I didn't quite catch all that.
Yeah, you can still see if your email's infected, and you can still put in, the question was, is the database still up, can you query it? Yes, you can still query fractions of it, but I still can't make all of it available because I might get sued for libel, I think. If anyone's a really good lawyer out there and they want to defend me, I'll put it all up, whatever. But my understanding is that I can't put some of the data out there because there's already court cases that have happened that would get me in trouble. Like I couldn't publish the usernames for those URLs that had been compromised because that's half of an access key. You need a username and a password. If you publish half, you can go to jail. So I didn't publish either half, but I published the publicly available resources that had been compromised. In other words, the URLs or whatever. Yeah.
What can we do that would be fun?
Well, you go in there and you could like see how many different sites got hacked. You could put in like dog and see that all these dog sites had been broken into. You could put in like, oh, I wonder what kind of people get worms. Is it the kind of people that look at porno? Yeah, it is. So you put in porno and there'd be like the most results. And then you could put in like, I don't know, something else. You put in security focus and you wouldn't get many results. And then you put in .gov and you'd get more results. So, you know, that
You don't show the actual messages that are sort of parsed.
no, I can't. There's a sample up there. I want to show you, but I can't. Maybe if that, is that laptop working? Well, like, just give me that Ethernet wire. Let me see if I can really quickly get onto my server and change the IP that's allowed in. I'll just change it to any for a little while. My wireless card isn't working here, so I need a... Oh, you fixed the wireless. Let me see. Oh, I don't think I got the kernel thing loaded up right. You know. Oh yeah, I got to meet this. I got to meet the Secret Service too for the site on Jenna and Barbara Bush. People in my neighborhood are like, "Why do these guys keep coming by?" that was a funny story. Like the Secret Service guy came, or two of them apparently. They look more like football players, both of them. They don't mess around. So the two Secret Service guys came and I wasn't around, and one of my neighbors was out in the street, and they. Okay, cool. Let's. So the two Secret Service guys came and they knocked, and no one was there, so they slept a card under the door that said, "Please call." And then they were walking out, and one of my neighbors was there, and they're like, is Monkey Brains located here? He's like, "Oh, are you looking for Rudy?" And they're like, "Yeah, what's his last name?" He's like, I don't know. So it's good that I live in a neighborhood where people are just
Paranoid.
whatever, you know, dubious of the, not trusting of much. There are a lot of tweakers there too. I live in like a scrap metal mecca. Let's see if I can get anything interesting to come up. I don't think I can do the messages. I wanted to show you guys, but I couldn't get the connection to work on the second floor. The network down there sucks. Too many hackers. So I have a SSL certificate that it redirects to, and it's not one that I paid for. And some people got really upset. They're like, "What's this certificate? It's not valid." Don't use it then. I don't care. So this is the version where you can't see the good stuff, because it's just, I'd have to SSH in, and I won't do it from anyone else's machine. So I'm crazy. It's not working. I don't know, like, I probably need to restart the machine or something. Has anyone else gotten in there? Can they restart it for me? I keep waiting for someone to break in. Like, there's easy ways and hard ways. So here's like the BadTrans worm got written about in the register somewhere in England. I don't know. I'm not going to bore you with that. You can look at that later. Oh, here's the article about. Oh no, it's gone. Security focus. They're probably gone too. Yeah, they're gone. Oh, the Secret Service. They just wanted to talk about why I was running a site that focused on Jenna and Barbara Bush, and I told them that I was just interested in the site. Let's look at that site. Fuck this tech stuff. This is tech in its own way. It's like cultural hacking. Here I play the role of an avid stalker fan. I can talk for about 5 hours on this topic. Let me try to make the font bigger. All right, hold on. All right, I'll just show the pictures. I can talk. I can read everything. I know it by heart. Okay, so this picture started it all. So we're diverging from BadTrans worms to adolescent drinking. Here's Jenna at a frat party. This got published in the National Enquirer. Let's see, in the end of 1999. And my father cut this out and emailed it, or he snail mailed it to me. And I saw this picture, and I'm like, goodness, this would make one of those great websites that everyone emails around to each other. It's like, check out this site that I saw. And I've always wanted to make one of those pop hit sites. So I saw this, and I'm like, this seeded my idea to make a whole site just dedicated to watching every move of the president's daughters. And sure enough, it was Yahoo Pick of the Week once, last year or something. So there's Jenna. This picture is magnificent. There's cigarettes in hand. They're not dropping them. She's like having a good time. There's beer that's not getting spilled. And there's other people watching, drinking beer out of mason jars. I don't know. I'm not from Texas. I don't understand. But I understood enough. So that started that. And there they are at the, I don't know, that's the Republican convention, I believe. I don't know what that is. The family, this is like back in high school. Okay, here she is with her high boots. There's an article how some people thought those boots were sexy. All right, here she is dancing at the inauguration ball. I don't know if you guys remember in the news, but her dress slipped down a little bit while she was dancing with her father, our president. Here's one of her boyfriends. He got in trouble for being too drunk. Let's see, what is it? I can't remember. This is a long time ago. Okay, Jenna Bush's boyfriend, William Bridges, was 3 sheets to the wind. It got put in the slammer for 4 hours. Yep. What a face. Oh, here's something else funny. Jenna and Barbara were on Hot or Not, and people got to rate them. And it's funny that their photos ended up in Hot or Not. I don't know. Maybe they were rating themselves. I didn't do it. I don't need to wish. Okay, let's see. Let me go to the Hot or Not link. That's kind of cool. I don't know. Has anyone here, raise your hand if you've done Hot or Not. Has anyone like entered their picture and got rated? I did it. God, no one's fessing up. I got a 10. Okay, so here are the final ratings. Like, they give you this bar chart that shows you how good you look to the world. This is kind of a cool cultural phenomenon. And whenever something comes up like this, I try to incorporate it into the First Twin site in some way. And so, I picked these pictures because everyone in the news media was saying Jenna looked, I mean, I didn't pick these. Someone picked these because Jenna was a lot hotter in the media. And I figured if there were 2 pictures up there, and one was, you know, a woman alone, and one was someone else. That this woman would get a higher rating, Barbara. This one's Barbara up here. If you don't know this, Barbara here, she goes to Yale. This is Jenna. She goes to University of Texas, Austin or something. And so Barbara got a higher rating here, and previously all the news had said that Jenna was the hot one. So I wanted to put a little spin on the media, and I succeeded. It's really easy to manipulate the media. That's something, you know, that's media hacking. That's fun. Like I wrote that they got in trouble for drinking at a bar, and I said that they're drinking margaritas. I'm not sure, but it was a Mexican bar. And then I saw it in the news somewhere else that they were drinking margaritas, and that just gave me a good chuckle. Let's see, where are we? Let's go down here. So here's the fake ID picture. And then I got interested in slash code for a while, so I put in their back end, and you can vote like which one is Jenna, which one is Barbara, left twin, right twin. And you can click here like, okay, holy body snatchers, those ain't them. You can vote on that one. Don't show that. And then you go to the slash code backend, and you can see that how people are voting. And I just wanted to do this. How come I can't see the left part of the screen? Oh well. I just wanted to. I just wanted to use the slash code software because I thought it'd be fun to try out. And it was fun, but it was too complicated for me, and I just stripped everything out except for the polling software, and I only used that. The Secret Service, they just wanted to say hi. Actually, I only talked to them on the phone. I never got to meet them in person. I was kind of bummed, but I'm sure now I'll meet them in person for talking about them in public. Here's Jenna at a bar in LA. She had an internship last summer. And she went out and drank again in public to George W.'s dismay. Let's see. Here's a Talk Magazine did a fashion shoot with some models that looked vaguely like Jenna Barbara and someone that looks vaguely like George W. Because they didn't really go to jail. They just got tickets. But they sort of reenacted the going to jail scene. And I think someone censored Talk Magazine after that. They're like, we're never going to have any news about talk media again. It's crazy how our country reacts to things, political things. Here's a picture of some fan with a sign saying Ich liebe Jenna und Barbara. Any similarity is coincidental. There's Jenna at I think a Versace show or something. I don't know, some fashion thing. The cousins started to make a lot of news, so I started to report on them too. It just branches out. There's Lauren Bush on the cover of Glamour. There's Lauren Bush at a Tommy Hilfiger shoot. There's Noella. She got busted for Xanax. It's not a good shot, but people take that after they take ecstasy because they get depressed. Poor girl. So, I'd be depressed too if my family was so fucked up. Okay. All right, I'm gonna show one last thing, and then, oh shit. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna show. Face flipper is a good thing to end on. There's a funny story about this too. Everything sort of links together. If you work on a project and you want to have fun, just try to think of more ways to incorporate things. Like my friend Karen, who does some remote control robotic stuff for SRL, wrote this face flipper thing, and she had it on her site, and so I stole the .java file that she left up there, changed a little, and put in the different people that I wanted to flip faces. It's not, Java doesn't work on this laptop very well. Look, I click and nothing happens. Okay. Applet. Applets rule. All right. But anyways, that was fun too. She lost her source code for a little while, but I'd taken it off her server, so I was able to give it back. Keep backups. I don't know. Any last questions? Right there?
Yeah, just want to comment about PayPal. It may have been just incompetence why he got messed up. because I had a PayPal account, and they screwed it up so badly I blew them off and got my own merchant account.
Yeah, I didn't really want to tie a merchant account into dubious activities. Too close to home. PayPal's better for laundering money. Or so I've been told. Okay, good. Oh, let's see. I've got some Daily Rotten mouse pads. With there's an article about the FBI wants worms pilfered data. And then I got some rotten.com magnets.
Throw harder!
All right, and I also have some Monkey Brains T-shirts, but I had to pay for these. Out of my pocket. So it cost me $7 each. If you give me 5, I'll give you one. I only have like 10. So if you want one and you want to support me in what I do, just give me $5. Oh, I have stickers. They're orange, so you can pretend you're security.
Well, you kind of gave it to me.